In town, West Virginia. You're watching the Big 12 now on ESPN+. Alex Swiderski joined alongside by Tony Honorado, Iowa State and WVU, a Big 12 wrestling tilt. And early on, two decisions for West Virginia. They lead 6-0. And one of those, you would say maybe expected, the favorite one, but a big upset in the 133 as Davin Rhodes just got his second win of the season against Zach Redding. Now we move into the 141, where it's one of the top recruits in the nation from last year, Casey Swiderski for Iowa State, and Jordan Titus, a redshirt freshman who lost by decision his last time out for West Virginia. What are you expecting in this one, Tony?
Well, Titus has done some really nice things. He's wrestled some good matches sometimes, but just like a lot of young guys, he's a little inconsistent. And I actually, when we were having that discussion with Kevin Dresser during our interviews with him earlier this week, he said the same thing, obviously, about Swiderski. I mean, they're freshmen, so sometimes, man, they look dynamite, and sometimes they look like freshmen. So, I mean, you're not exactly sure who you're going to get every single time out on the mat. That's just part of the learning curve that goes into being consistent and performing consistently at a high level.
And while Titus redshirted last year, wrestled unattached quite well, by the way, to a 20-7 record, Swiderski is a true freshman. And how about this? This is probably my favorite thing about Swiderski from his high school level. He won four state titles from 4 different classifications throughout his career. I imagine that's got to be pretty tough. And he scores the first point of this match.
You know what that tells me? He grew. He kept growing. He kept getting bigger. You know what I mean? You can't stay down at that weight forever. And he's a kind of a taller, leaner guy, and I can see that happen. The kids go through a growth spurt, man, and the next thing you know, they're like 2 weight classes 3 above.
And correction, it was not a point. But he was 166-3 in his high school career. And by the way, that's not abnormal when you look at high school wrestlers at this level as they get to college. But it is still mind-blowing because I'll tell you this one, Swiderski has lost 4 matches already this year. You alluded to it earlier, the idea that you kind of have to go through this mental battle of you're going to lose more matches your freshman year than you may have the entire time in your high school career.
Well, I'm going to say this, too, especially with the COVID situation where there are more guys who are wrestling like year number 6 and some of them year 7. You're wrestling men, you know what I mean? And that's a big difference. It's a big difference in all the sports, really, when you think about it. But in wrestling, you know, you're 18 years old, and if you're a young 18 for sure, that's another issue. And you could be wrestling somebody who's 24, man. I mean, that's a big difference.
A lot of people at 18 could still be, as you kind of put it, maybe a little gangly or a little leaner.
You see him, Swiderski, really trying to, at that front headlock, really kind of whip Rhodes or Titus around and try to find an angle in the corner. But Titus does a nice job of just kind of keeping track of him, keeping him in front.
Just 10 seconds remaining in what has been he would describe, I was going to say a low event start, and no point awarded there.
What was that for? Why did he call him? He called him for stalling, like leading the mat. He got knocked down basically on his butt, and he went to recover, and it was already out of bounds. I don't know why they warned him for that one. That doesn't make any sense to me. But they didn't ask me, so.
Yeah. Ultimately, no one scores in that first bout. No riding time to note either. And early on in this one, we've seen, again, it's been really low event, very conservative early on here. And maybe not conservative by design, more just kind of by nature.
Well, again, I don't know that they're being necessarily super conservative, but what is happening is you've got people who are good, so they're good defensively and offensively at the same time. So each of them takes a little shot. They don't get out of position a whole lot. So, you know, it's not conducive to giving up a lot of points. Now, this is the toughest transition for all the young guys, is the getting off the bottom part, the part of the wrestling on the mat. How do we ride? How do we get off the bottom? And there, Swiderski does a nice job getting out in about 30 seconds, 28 seconds of riding time for Titus. Not too bad.
With that escape, that is the first point of the match for Swiderski, who comes in ranked as high as 24. Titus, an honorable mention in his weight class, and with a 14-9 record on the season, 34-16 for his career.
So honorable mention, 24. Those kind of even up for the most part. You're talking about a thing here or a thing there, and it's if West Virginia is going to have any shot of being competitive throughout the duel, especially because a lot of Iowa State's really good guys are further up. That should be a takedown. He put his hand on the mat.
They haven't awarded any points yet,
and now
there it is.
Mat, right? But we're still in this sort of stalemate. Neither one of them can move, that's for sure. See, I thought right there, that's a takedown. But then he lets him put the whizzer in, and once he hooks the leg here over on this side, he gives him the takedown finally. So I guess no harm, no foul on that side of it.
Titus with the takedown now gives, well, has taken the lead here, 2-1 in this second bout, or second part of the bout, excuse me. 36 seconds remaining. He's got 34 seconds of riding time, so that not yet a factor. Accumulated a fair bit, as you alluded to just moments ago.
You know, and they're just spending time on top is a good idea, right? I mean, but you can't just sit there. You got to put some pressure forward. Swiderski tries to roll through, and Titus really does a nice job of rolling. The fans want a near fall. That wasn't really very close at all. But what he is doing is spending time on top and riding. And we're probably going to potentially get, oh, we almost let him out. He did let him out with 6 seconds left. Yep. So that's a big score for Swiderski to get that point, tie the match up going into the final period. He gets out with 6 seconds left. Big difference.
2-2. And right now, riding time 104 for Titus. And he'll start in bottom position. Swiderski will start in top position. This is a big moment here. You're looking, again, if you're West Virginia and along that bench, they have been reacting pretty animatedly to just about everything that's been happening, looking for that escape.
Well, as they should, right? Oh, try not to. Oh, that's going to be a reversal. When I said that Titus is pretty good at rolling around, he does a lot of rolling. He does a lot of like those Granby rolls, forward rolls. He's really comfortable doing that.
That was a big-time reversal and drew a huge.
Well, and normally that's not a good spot to do that in. Usually the people who are doing those things to you, trying to lift you through the crotch, step through Turkey, are pretty good at rolling around themselves. But he did a nice job of getting his hip through. Last week in the dual match with at Oklahoma State, he wasn't able to get his hip through very well, and he got ridden and things along those lines. This time he's able to do that and get himself out. Now he's really building some riding time up. He's got a minute 38 left. Minute 38 of riding time with a minute left in the match, and up 4-2, moving to really a 5-2 lead more or less, and that's going to be locked in here in a couple of seconds.
So now if you're Swiderski, I mean, you've got to find an escape and a takedown here.
More, yeah, and quickly, because right now he's got that riding time locked up. So essentially you're down 5-2. Titus doing a nice job on top and trying to get this return one more time.
And yeah, that riding time is locked up now, over 2 minutes, just 35 seconds left here, as Swiderski still battling.
And again, Swiderski struggled to get off the bottom. Titus has done a nice job of riding, doing some things and changing hips and changing angles. There's Swiderski tries to roll through, 21 seconds left in the match. Riding time is definitely locked in for Titus, so you got a 5-2 score. You're down by 3 with 21 seconds left. So, and you got to get off the bottom. So an escape and a takedown ties the match up still.
Swiderski, by the way, with just a single pin on the season. Don't know if he's got enough in the tank for that, but by no means is this over with 21 seconds left. A lot of stories in the annals of wrestling history about leads this tight that have been reversed in a matter of seconds.
So there's a caution on Titus. Jump that one a little bit, trying to get that arm underneath, trying to get that hook and that claw in. Just get your hand on the inside.
Official still.
Our official is confusing other guys.
We're back underway.
He's confusing them. They're starting and not starting, right? Okay, there's 12 seconds left.
That's a big escape.
Titus just got to stay away. He's just got to stay away. And
that's a reversal. And that'll do it.
Well, you know what that's going to do? You know what that's going to do is that he's going to get 4 points for that, plus the riding time. Pretty sure what that does is give you a major decision, right?
I mean, this is a heck of a play here, Tony.
Yeah, this Titus just does a nice job of that forward roll out of that, and it ends up with the reversal even more than the escape. When he does that, they get down to the end here. When he gets down to the end, so Swiderski trying to do what he can to win the match, right? He's desperate, he tries for a throw at the end, but what ends up happens is he ends up on his back. And when he ends up on his back, he ends up giving up 2 for a takedown and then that 4-point near fall, which gives them the major decision, which is a huge win for West Virginia in this dual meet.
How about that? West Virginia, we talked about it, only favored in a single match. They've won the first 3 by decision, and major decision right there for Jordan Titus. He's pumped, man.